Opinionated Idiot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is Sunday, May 21st, 2023. We're back here on the mothership on the Opinionated Idiot YouTube channel, and welcome everybody in. Fantastic group already buzzing in the chat group. We got about 100 people in here right now. It's good to see everybody here on this Sunday. Thank you. Welcome everybody in. We have a lot of people, a lot of returning people that I haven't seen here in quite a while. And we get a super packed show for you. I'm going to try to get through this stream. I have an extremely terrible headache this evening, but the show must go on. The show must go on. So want to welcome everybody in. How's everybody's weekend so far? We're getting ready and getting very close. Tomorrow at Monday, 9 a.m., Brian Koberger will be arraigned in Latah County Court to hear his full indictment. A couple things that we're going to go through this evening. I have an indictment video that I do want to play that was just dropped by News Nation a couple of minutes ago. We are going to certainly talk about the new Dateline episode that dropped. And I do have Laura on the panel, just waiting for her to confirm if she's all right. And I'm going to bring her in here as well. But before we start into the show this evening, there is something that I wanted to get into. And actually, I was going to talk to Laura about this. Actually, Laura's good now. I'm going to bring her in. Laura, you all right? I'm going to bring you in. Give me a thumbs up. All right, perfect. Hello.
Good evening.
It's good to see you again.
Yes. Busy weekend here in YouTube world. So excited to be back.
How are you feeling about tomorrow?
Anxious.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what's happening.
Yeah, we're going to have 3 hearings tomorrow, right? 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m.
Yes, back to back. And for those in I believe it's 1, 2, and 3 Eastern Standard Time. I'd have to do the math here. I think that's what it is.
Okay. So we got a lot going on. So what I want to do before we get into the kind of the meat of the bones of the show is I was talking to Laura about this the other day, and true crime in court cases and cases are kind of, they're just very strange things. And I think that it does bring out a lot of emotion in people. I think that it brings out a lot of opinions in people. I think that when people hear how a specific case is presented, it gives them a perspective of where they stand maybe in a case, and it can swing with a person's ideology. And I was saying this to Laura the other day. I think, especially in this case, there's a lot of people that stand on the side that Brian Koberger is guilty of these crimes. And again, he's not guilty right now. He's presumed innocent until proven guilty. And then there's a lot of people on the other side of this that say that there's absolutely no way that he could have done this. So I jumped into old Chat GPT, asked it some questions, and I said, hey, can you spit out some things here that I could read on air and maybe widen the perspective of people's minds? I mean, I know where I particularly stand in this case. I have a pretty good idea of where Laura stands, particularly in this case. We've stuck through the facts in this case, the evidence that's presented to us so far in leak, unsealed and in kind of the leaks that have been out there. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of things that we've talked about have been pretty dead on. And that's why I said, when you stick to the facts and you don't cloud a lot of BS in this, you begin to get a clearer picture of what's gone on. And that's where I give Laura a lot of credit behind the scenes. We've looked through a lot of these legal documents, and when we've done it, we've dated it, we've timelined it, we've looked at the motions that are inside all of these documents and said, okay, what is that? What is this? And if you missed our episode last night, we did a lot of that in our DNA episode. But anyway, I wanted to just kind of read this first, open up some minds, maybe some perspectives and opinions. So bear with me here, and then we'll get a little bit more into the show. So changing someone's mind can be complex and challenging process, particularly when it comes to deeply held beliefs and opinions. While evidence is logical, arguments can be persuasive, and it's important to understand that people's views are often influenced by a variety of factors beyond just evidence presented to them. Their factors may include personal experiences, emotions, cultural or social influences, and cognitive biases. When attempting to change someone's mind based on evidence, it's critical. It's crucial to approach the discussion with empathy, respect, and an open mind. Here are some strategies that may increase the chances of effectively influencing someone's perspective. 1, establish common ground. Find shared values or goals that both parties can agree upon. This can create the foundation for a constructive decision and make the person more receptive to considering alternative viewpoints. 2, active listening. Give a person the opportunity to express their beliefs and concerns fully. Show genuine interest and actively listen to their perspective without interrupting or dismissing their ideas. This will demonstrate respect and increase the likelihood that they will reciprocate. Number 3, present compelling evidence. Prepare well-researched and credible evidence to support your position. Use facts, data, studies, and logical reasons to make your case. Present information in the clear, concise, and accessible manner to maximize its impact. 4, address emotions. Understand that emotions often play a significant role in shaping people's beliefs. Acknowledge and empathize with the emotions behind the stance and try to address their concerns or fears directly. Emotional engagement can be a powerful tool in influence opinions. Appeal to share values. Connect the evidence to the person's core values and beliefs. Frame your own argument in a way that resonates with their existing worldview. Empathize with how adopting a new perspective aligns with their fundamental principles. And then finally, number 6, patience and persistence. Changing someone's mind is really in an instant process. It often takes time and ideas to sink in for individuals to reconsider their beliefs. Be patient, continuing engaging, respect dialogue, and maintain a willingness to listen to adopt your approach if needed. And I'm going to end with this and we'll close this up. However, despite employing these strategies, it's important to recognize that changing someone's mind is not always possible or guaranteed. People's beliefs are deeply ingrained, and they may have a strong emotional attachment to them. Additionally, certain topics may be particularly sensitive or polarizing, making it more difficult to sway opinions. In some cases, it may be more productive to focus on fostering understanding, empathy, and respect dialogue rather than aiming to completely change someone's viewpoint. And the reason that I'm saying this is I'm sure these are a lot of things that jurors and juries go through in that jury room. I'm sure these are some of the processes that they have to go through to come to a decision, to come to a verdict. And I hope that I can open some minds here, and that's what I wanted to do in this case, is come aboard on my platform and my channel and give fact-based information, not bullshit, not conspiracy theories, essentially doing the right thing for these cases, and especially this case. This case to me is going to be ingrained in my brain the rest of my life. And I said this yesterday on the stream, 1122 will always ring in my head. What do you think, Laura?
I know that whenever I even see an address, anywhere, 1122 or the time 11:20, I mean, it's automatically going to go back to King Road and Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, Ethan. and what happened. And, regardless of who the killer is, let's not forget that the important people here are Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, Ethan, and their families and their friends and the other roommates that have suffered through so much. So I know that I will always see a picture of most likely Kaylee. She's, in my opinion, like when I think of I mean, out of the 4, I think the most about her for some reason, probably because her family has been so vocal, but I'll never forget this. This will be in my life, and 30 years down the road, I'll probably be like, "Hey, you remember those Idaho murders?"
Yeah.
So we will see this referred to, I'm sure, in the future on many different, media outlets and textbooks maybe.
Um, before I go on, I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
I do want to thank Christine for gifting a membership. I know she did it very early in the show.
Yeah.
So Christine Brown, thank you so much for gifting that membership out. Um, is there anything that you think that you'll be surprised about? Is there anything that comes to your mind that may surprise you?
If
Something that you haven't thought of yet?
if, if Brian Koberger did know one of the victims, truly, not just know them through a social media profile, but if he truly knew them, I don't believe he knew them in person.
Mm,
I believe that he knew them through a computer screen. I would be shocked if it had something to do with the sorority fraternity angle. I would be shocked if it has something to do with a major drug ring.
mm,
Um, I would be shocked if it's not something quite, if I should use the word simple, of somebody obsessed with somebody else and, using their education and their, deep hatred of some things, and resentment of the world or a particular type of person. Um, that's if it's anything but that, I will be surprised because I've looked at the facts as well as the evidence, some interviews, and did my own speculations. And if it's completely out there in left field, I will be shocked.
yeah,
I think it's pretty simple. Not saying that simple is good. I'm just saying that I think a lot of the things, the rabbit holes we've gone down are indeed rabbit holes. Not saying that there aren't valid rabbit holes.
right.
However, um, I think that it's pretty cut and dry, but we will see. Hopefully we get a nugget of something tomorrow, and I know we'll talk about that a little bit
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that, but let's do this. A video from News Nation just dropped about 20 minutes ago, and I do
Let's
want to
watch it.
talk about. I want to play this up. It does talk about what we may see and hear during the briefing tomorrow. So let's play that really quick. Let me just widen the screen here, and we'll get into this.
And we turn now.
Oh, this is not related to the Moscow case. We're already going to start a conspiracy theory. Look, that is
Well,
not related to this case.
Now to a case that has gripped the nation. The suspect accused of killing 4 Idaho college students will be arraigned tomorrow morning. Now, this comes as new details emerge about the suspect, Brian Koberger, including suspicions from his own family. His sister allegedly noticed him wearing gloves during the time of the killing. She even questioned her father about her brother's possible involvement, according to a Dateline report. And that same report claims that Koberger purchased the knife and sheath used in the murders from Amazon. And before the brutal killings, that he was suspected in yet another crime. This incident involved his female co-worker at Washington State University. Someone allegedly broke into the woman's apartment and moved things around. Now, instead of calling police, the co-worker called Koberger, who helped her install security cameras. But the Dateline report claims Koberger was behind that break-in, and he used those cameras to spy on her. News Nation's Emily Finn has more on what we can expect to see from Koberger in court. Emily, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kelly. Yes, that's right. Koberger will be arraigned tomorrow in the Latah County courts. He's expected to enter a plea for the 5 charges against him. That's 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. It's the first time he'll be back in court since his initial appearance right after he was arrested for allegedly killing 4 University of Idaho students. Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were all stabbed to death in their apartment near the college campus last November. About a month later, Koberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. After being extradited back to Idaho in January, he's been sitting in jail ever since. Last Tuesday, a grand jury indicted Koberger on all charges, which eliminates his June preliminary hearing, essentially speeding up the court proceedings here, Kelly. Now, investigators linked Koberger to the crime scene through DNA evidence found on that leather knife sheath left behind at the victim's apartment. News Nation contributor Tracy Walder joined us last night, saying that it's likely Koberger will still plead not guilty despite all of this damning evidence against him.
I am not sure that this will be the tipping point for him to change his plea. Look, would I love for him to plead guilty and for all of this to just be done, over with, and move along? I absolutely would. But I am not certain that death penalty will be offered in terms of a plea deal to be taken off the table here. And so I do think it's unlikely that he will change his plea.
And as Tracy just mentioned, if Koberger does plead guilty tomorrow, or if he's later found guilty on all counts, he could face the death penalty. We're still a long way from potential sentencing in the case here, but make sure to tune in to News Nation tomorrow morning for live updates on Koberger's arraignment. Kelly?
We will be watching. Emily, thank you as always.
All right. What I wanted to do also is there was another small video here that I wanted to bring up. And this one is, this just dropped from News Nation a couple seconds ago too. Let's play this.
Now to News Nation legal contributor Jesse Weber. Jesse, always great to have you. So Koberger will be back in the courtroom tomorrow morning. Should we expect any surprises, or will the proceedings be pretty straightforward here?
Well, I mean, the biggest surprise would be if he comes out and pleads guilty, which I agree with my esteemed colleague Tracy, I think is highly unlikely given what we've seen. We've seen Koberger advancing his defense team, hiring new counsel in anticipation of fighting this. And look, as devastating as this evidence appears to be on the outside, and I've been the first to say that I think it's particularly strong, watching so many cases, following cases, seeing some faults in prosecution's cases, there's room for him to argue that this evidence might not be as airtight as many believe. So I believe he is going to plead not guilty to the 5 charges that he ultimately faces. And this arraignment is not going to be where witnesses testify or bombshell evidence comes out. The charges will be read against him. He can obviously waive the reading of the indictment, and he will enter his plea. And this should be a relatively straightforward proceeding. And if he pleads not guilty, then this moves into the next phase, the trial, where we may see a tentative trial date ultimately scheduled. Although, given the complexities of this case, I wouldn't be surprised if the trial is ultimately delayed for quite some time.
So, Jesse, I thought it was fascinating that you mentioned some of this evidence airtight. What do you think are the most critical pieces, or will be, if a trial does move forward here?
Okay, so the DNA, basically putting him at the scene, very critical, right? I mean, that is really important. But I think there are outstanding questions in terms of how that DNA was collected and how it actually tied back to Koberger. My opinion, I think the cell phone evidence and the surveillance footage of his car is probably the most damning evidence, because while his phone was off during the key critical point of time, the fact that it was turned off, and before it was turned off was headed towards the direction of this house and then came back on the network after the killings, many people could say that shows he purposely turned off his phone to avoid law enforcement. But the surveillance footage of his car, that it was in the area and speeding off right after we believe these killings happened, and then there's later surveillance footage showing that he was the driver of that car. That's the kind of evidence I find is going to be very difficult for a defense attorney to fight against. Now, of course, they could say this is a common area. He was driving. Maybe he was going to go into the late night bar area. It's not surprising he was there. It's just too coincidental given everything we've seen. So look out for the surveillance and the cell phone evidence. I think that's the biggest points.
All right, fascinating point. So a grand jury indicted Koberger, as you know, on Tuesday, a move that canceled out that week-long preliminary hearing that was scheduled in June. Why do you think prosecutors opted for the grand jury? Is there an advantage moving forward as opposed to having a preliminary hearing?
Major advantage. If this went to a preliminary hearing, it would be public. The defense attorneys would have an opportunity to ultimately cross-examine the prosecution's witnesses. They could even call their own witnesses, and you have to convince a judge. With a grand jury, it's secret. Prosecutors are not showing their hand yet. It was their case that they wanted to present to convince a majority of these grand jurors that there's enough probable cause to go forward with this indictment. And clearly, it was a benefit to them. They don't have to show everything right now. It streamlined the process. It actually protected the rights of certain witnesses who maybe didn't want to come forward and testify at a preliminary hearing. It's a win for the prosecution, but let's not forget, they still have to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, the highest standard. We are not there yet at an ultimate trial, but right now this is definitely a win for the prosecution.
All right. Jesse Weber, thank you as always.
All right. So it just gives it a little bit of insight of what we'll be looking at tomorrow. I know, I'm going to be gripped to my phone and trying to read the articles that come out. I'm sure that you and I will be texting each other and the chats will be buzzing.
Can't wait.
What's that?
I said I can't wait.
Exactly.
Like another Christmas morning.
Do what?
It's like another Christmas morning.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I'm sorry. I have a super headache tonight. I think there's a lot of red herrings in this case that have been thrown out there. And I think a lot of channels and news media, you know what? The funny thing is I haven't really seen a lot of in the news media. It's just been a lot of YouTube channels. And that's why I've always said, do your due diligence, read the documents. It's a pretty clear picture. We've gone over this a billion times. I think Emma Bailey is a red herring. I don't see it. I think this Dave and this WSU crap, WSU Kim and Dave is a sack of crap. I just don't see it. I don't see it. How do you feel about all of that stuff?
I believe that, I believe that it's connected perhaps to the house or the residence, but not necessarily linked to the crime.
Let's just say someone went over there, they partied and brought drugs over there. It doesn't necessarily make them a murderer.
Exactly.
I want to see, this is what I need. If you want to email me, you can email me, theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com. I hear Emma Bailey a lot. I hear this guy Dave a lot now. I hear WSU Kim. If you think that all of that stuff is factual and relevant to this case, one, the two people that have spoke out and said all of this stuff, okay, all of this stuff so far, why haven't they gone to the law enforcement? Why haven't they talked to any police?
Exactly.
Why are they doing a YouTube tour? But now all of a sudden they're gone. We don't see them anymore. Why? But if I had factual information that could help assist someone in this case, or possibly get Brian Kohberger maybe off, that you saw something or knew something, why aren't you calling the authorities? Why are you bouncing around on YouTube channels?
Right.
If people think that Emma Bailey is involved, please write me and give me all of the evidence that shows that she's involved in this. Because I just don't see it. I don't believe it.
I think that she absolutely knew the girls. Absolutely.
And I think we've gone over some video and seen her at the house, I think in one of the body cam footage.
I believe that was her.
Everybody partied at that house.
It was a happening house. I mean, if we were all college students out there at WSU or University of Idaho, I think a good deal of us would be.
Do we really know that? Do we really know this?
Party house?
Do we really know that Kim talked to the FBI? I could talk to the FBI. I could call them. You could call them.
Mm-hmm.
But if she talked to the FBI and knew a lot of information, then why was she still doing YouTube tours after that? Doesn't make any sense to me. They probably would say, hey, I probably wouldn't talk about that.
Exactly.
So
I mean, yeah.
There's my 2 cents on all of that stuff.
I mean, she could have. I mean, we can't say whether or not she did, but I know if I was involved with the case, I wouldn't be on here.
Samantha thinks this. Quite possible. I don't know who she is. Do you know who she is? I don't know. I mean, I could go on and disguise my voice and be like,
I was at the King Road residence the night before. I saw everything as Brian came out of the house speeding away in the white Hyundai Elantra.
am I believable?
I mean, yeah,
Sounds pretty convincing, right?
yeah. I mean, sure,
Are you sensing my sarcasm?
absolutely. Sensing mine.
Yes.
I could get
All right.
my little voice changer, my talk boy from 1989 and go to town.
All right. So Dateline NBC dropped a new episode of the Idaho 4 incident. Keith Mortensen did the reporting again. Let's play this little trailer here. And
Dateline NBC correspondent Keith Morrison is joining us now. Keith, this is a fascinating and horrifying case. And in this episode tonight, you have exclusive reporting on the alleged murder weapon and the suspect. Can you give us a sense of the reveals viewers can expect this evening?
Yeah, this is a very disturbing story, as you say. And
you know, and this is the thing is that, and I'm gonna go out, and this is why I'm so glad on this channel that we have now. I can't verify. I'm probably gonna believe what Carrie's saying here, but this is why I've been so glad that we have stuck to the facts in this case. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and I don't care. I'll go out on record and say this. I think there's gonna be a lot of people in the end that have egg on their face on a lot of things that they put out in the ether and said about these families and said about these people. And again, you know, I said it a couple streams ago, I would not feel good about myself speaking out of terms on anything or connecting anybody or saying Emma Bailey's involved or her boyfriend or whatever, or Dave or Kim or whatever. That at night that I would lay my head down on my bed and feel good about that when I don't have any factual information from a legal document or a police report or an arrest video or an eyewitness account that's credible. I would not feel good about that. And that's why I don't do stuff like that on this channel. I just don't do it. If you're coming here for that content, you ain't gonna get it. I would say unsubscribe. I would say unsubscribe now because you ain't gonna get it. Not gonna get it out of me because I don't go like that. Yeah, let's keep playing through this here.
we have we have kind of waded through the picket fences to get to the kind of information we're looking for. Partly because the information flow has been shut down as much as possible, given the fact that there was so much misinformation out there. Our information about the K-bar knife and how he came to have it, about the nature of those traffic stops, about what was going on in his home, about what occurred at WSU, where he was a teaching assistant, are all fascinating material and will certainly contribute to the case against Brian Kohberger, whether or not he's found guilty.
And he was just indicted by a grand jury this week, which means it skips the preliminary hearing, goes basically straight to trial. You may know this, Keith. Washington State University, WSU, is my alma mater in the small rural town of Pullman, Washington, which for me was such a feel-good place during my time there. So it makes it all the more difficult to wrap my head around this huge tragedy. You explored Kohberger's time there. Let's show a clip.
That's great.
Kohberger and that night traveled 2,500 miles until he reached his new home in Pullman, Washington, and Washington State University, where he would study for his doctorate in criminology.
Is it the kind of place where a person would want to go to do a PhD?
Yes, it is.
This is retired FBI agent Jennifer Coffendaffer. She's followed the case closely.
Not that many schools have all three levels, you know, the bachelor's, the master's, and the PhD. And it's pretty well regarded.
So perhaps that reputation is what drew Kohberger west? Or
I'm going to do this so I don't get
else.
nailed.
Whoever it is that committed these murders, it's like being a casting agent that goes out to find someone who looks the part.
So the guest is at the end of the clip there, Dr. Gary Brucato, a forensic pathologist you spoke with. What other thoughts did he share with you about the crime and the suspect?
Well, he's a very interesting fellow. He's developed the Columbia University's mass murder database and has a tremendous amount of information about the kind of murderers behind the sort of crimes that we have seen here, and what drives them to that kind of behavior. Whether or not it was Brian Kohberger, it was somebody who had built up a lot of resentments over the course of his life, who felt underappreciated, underloved, was probably socially awkward, found it difficult to be in crowds, to be with people, had unusual behaviors, and was looking to level the playing field. And along the way would have quite a number of dissociative episodes. We have seen evidence in Brian Kohberger's case of him writing about having visual snow and that sort of thing, which is a kind of a condition that people who are troubled by enough issues do experience.
All right. So anyway, that was kind of our preview to the new Dateline episode that dropped the other night. Laura, you got a chance to watch it, right?
Yes, I've watched it twice.
Okay. What did you think? Just initial thoughts before we get into our presentation and notes.
There was nothing out there that was crazy. There was nothing out there that was earth-shattering. Some of it was confirmation on things we've speculated on, given that they're speculating the same way.
Yeah.
Some of the information presented is factual. Some of it is what investigators believe or things that reporters have speculated on. I believe that it was some pretty intelligent speculations, nothing crazy. So overall, I believe Dateline to be quite a reputable source. I believe that they wouldn't put it out there on primetime television if they couldn't stand behind it.
Yeah, I also think too, like, listen, we got to understand it's TV, it's media. They're trying to sell ad spots and get people hooked in. But I would think that also that if anything that they would put out there, they probably ran it by the families that were involved. And if anything was too wacky, and I don't know what the creative control is on that, I would think out of respect for the families, they would at least run it by them. And if anything was too wacky, their lawyers or whatever would probably say, probably not going to air that, or you're going to cut that out. I don't know how all that works, but I'm just speculating. But I found it to be pretty, I think there was some things that gave me a little bit more clarity. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think there was some aha moments for me, but I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of an interesting angle that they thought about that. But I think it's pretty much in line with the information that you and I have been talking about over the last 3 months here on this channel. And I was like, wow, we're really close to what they, investigators think as well too. So I think we've been doing a really good job on keeping good factual information out there, and following the facts in this case. So let's do this. Let's pull up the little bit of the presentation that I put together. Laura and I did some note taking, and we want to just share that with you guys and go over some of the things that we thought. Let me just bring this up. Hang on one second. Would be, just to go through and kind of review what we saw on the Dateline episode. So got our presentation here, and it was the Dateline NBC Idaho 4 episode. It was titled "Killings in a College Town," and that was the new episode. I think they did one back in January or February, and this kind of was a follow-up to it. So okay, so first we met Kayla Nguyen, and in the very first 5 minutes of the episode, and she had a interview with Keith, and she basically said, like, they never saw Brian Kohberger before, and she also talked about that she didn't personally know him or didn't think that any of the girls personally known them, and then she actually talked about in her interview that the morning of Saturday the 12th, she was hanging out with Kaylee that morning. They were talking about what was it, TikTok videos, and they were kind of her cooking
those.
Yeah, her cooking videos, I guess, and how Kaylee was saying how hilarious they are, and she really loved her channel. I don't know if you want to elaborate on what I was talking about.
I mean,
So I got a $5 super chat. Says I disagree with your guest, and we all have a right to opinions. Yeah. Hey, thanks for the $5. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks for chiming in. We'll take the $5. Thanks for watching too.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
Yeah.
I vetted Kayla. I wanted to see just how connected she was to Kaylee and Maddie and everything. And it appears she follows them on Instagram back and forth. And she's very well known, I believe, in the sorority. So yeah, I mean, everything she said, I believed wholeheartedly. I found her to be reputable. It was nice that she included that she was hanging out with Kaylee, gave a little bit of personal background and their friendship and everything. So, yeah, she was a great guest on Dateline.
Yeah, I thought she was really good because I think that she gave that close connection to those roommates, like, you know, the closest that we would know or hear, you know, like kind of that one person of separation between, you know, the roommates and the outside, what we know of the roommates in the outside world. And she could fill in a little bit of their gaps of their personalities. And I really love the story that she was talking about, you know, how she was like, I was with Kaylee the morning on Saturday and we were just kind of hanging out and lounging around the house. And, you know, we were just talking about TikTok and, you know, just normal things that any college 19, 20, 21-year-old kid would be talking about. It just sounded like it was just it sounded to me that it just was such a calm, kind of relaxing day. There was no tension, you know, anything like that. And, you know, unfortunately, we ultimately know what happened later that night. So, all right, so let's go ahead here. And if you want to take this one, because I know this was your notes that we put up there.
Oh, sure. Ferraro, that's the last name of Brian Koberger's lab partner at DeSales.
Yeah.
Said he was odd and awkward, and he had an attitude of his way or the highway. He partnered up with him, and they were doing a school project together. And he was saying that Brian was not being serious, and he said, "Come on, we can have some really great shots if you would just be serious." And just like that, like the snap of a finger, he changed his attitude, got serious about everything, and Ferraro was able to take some nice photos of him looking into a microscope as well as looking down, reading the documents. So he knew how to change his demeanor like right away. So he was able to walk into mode.
Yeah, he said he had just kind of this like really odd way about him that day, and just said like come on, dude, like, you know, take this a little bit slower. He said it was so kind of like creepy how quick he jumped into like this other character and just got very serious about it. And then you know, it was like he was almost like he was posing for the photos, and it was like perfect, you know, like something like in a magazine or something like that.
The photos were spot on. I will give them both that.
Yeah.
Spot on.
They were really good. So, all right, we'll keep moving on here. I think this kind of if you want to take the top one, and then I'll talk about the visual snow.
Sure, sounds good. And then another girl named Madison knew him from DeSales. She didn't think he was creepy, but she said he did stare at her and her friends a lot. So she wasn't afraid of him. She didn't find him creepy. Interestingly enough, I thought she resembled the girls from King Road.
Interesting.
She was blonde and cute and young. So I mean, she just seemed like you could just copy and paste her right into the King Road residents and groups of friends, and you would never know the difference. So maybe it was like a type he was checking out.
Was that the girl that saw him later at a wedding or something like that? Or was that a different person?
That's a different person.
Yeah.
This is just a girl who knew him from DeSales. It was just a one and done. She'd see him around campus. He'd stare at her and her friends.
Yeah, I remember. And then I remember that girl. I think she was. Oh no, she went to high school, I think, with Brian.
Yes,
and she saw him later at a wedding, and she said that he was talking about. He was clean. He was at DeSales. This is all coming back to me.
Yep.
And she said it was just kind of odd. She hadn't seen him in a while. Kind of leaned in for a hug, and he kind of was like surprised, or his demeanor was just very strange about her hugging him. And then she said, kind of for the rest of the wedding, he kind of sat off to his side, wasn't really talking to many people. She tried getting him involved and talking to him, and he just didn't seem like he wanted to be socially active. So,
Correct.
you know, listen. I'm very strange when I go out to like big gatherings too. You know, maybe it's some anxiety or something like that. I mean, I can't say like, oh, that's the gotcha moment, you know, like,
Exactly.
but, you know, he did have some kind of social awkwardness, I guess. And, you know, who really doesn't at a young age too, but
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more amplified.
it's
I don't
common.
know. I wasn't there.
Common.
Yeah,
Not everybody likes to be out partying on a dance floor at a wedding, so that's fair that he was sitting there at his table, just doing not much of anything.
sure. So Symbia64 says, in my opinion, Cobra will plead innocent and then will be like BTK and tell his story later later
In the
in the
trial.
trial.
Uh, I
Could be.
I could be Simbi, could be.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thanks for the $5 super chat. We appreciate that. So then I had this note here that I took from watching that night. So as a young teen, Brian Koberger posted constantly on a Visual Snow message board. I've actually seen the message board. There's, I mean, pages and pages. I've read through it. It's pages and pages and pages. He was posting daily, multiple times a day. And some of the quotes that were pulled off was, I always wonder what a normal person would be doing while I sit there and suffer. And then another quote, he said, I feel like an organic sack of meat with no self-worth. And then another one that came up was, I feel like a demon. I wander the streets alone, feeling like a demon. So pretty haunting stuff, pretty troubling stuff. You know, for someone to write stuff like that. And
They also said that they suppose that he lost all the weight, feeling that if he lost all the weight, then he would get more attention.
mhm.
If he got clean off of drugs, he would get more attention, and if he posted about his mental mental illness or visual snow, he would get sympathy. So, I mean, there's a part of me here that I really feel for the guy because
Sure.
it seems like he was alone and
Mhm.
didn't get the right help he needed. I need a drink soon, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel for the guy, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it said something I have in my notes here, and I'm looking. One of his notes was, you know, he wanted to be liked. He wanted to be, you know, they felt like he wanted to be accepted and have acceptance. And, you know, listen, I don't want anybody to suffer from mental illness. I don't want anybody to have any issues with mental illness. I mean, I myself suffer with mental health. I'm sure a lot of people that watch this channel suffer with mental health as well. And I hope, you know, listen, I hope that all of you have those resources out there to get help. And if there's not, you know, if there's not a way that you can get help, there are many, you know, at least just some 800 numbers you can call and talk to anybody. Or if you're ever feeling down or anything like that, and you just need someone to converse with, or maybe for someone to listen, you know, you have my email address. Just send me an email. I mean, I can't get involved in your personal health, but maybe I can direct you in the right spot and give you some advice to get some help. You know, that's,
Yeah.
you know, it's what we want to do here as well too. You know,
And
I don't want to.
anxiety and depression is a real thing in all ages, but especially the
100%.
younger age group where is social media. It's 24/7 everywhere. Nothing can ever truly be deleted. Um, you know, young adults, you know, teenagers through their okay, he obviously had mental issues from back then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't say I feel bad that, oh, it's okay that he committed murder. Oh gosh, no.
Right.
But he obviously was suffering and it looks like he never truly got the help he needed. And he was
Yeah.
always seeking acceptance. So yeah, that's what I go back to. Anxiety and depression is real and it's not just you can't just take a pill and be done. I mean, it's a lifelong thing. So it's a shame that if he did commit these murders, that he never got the help to prevent these murders.
Yeah,
So,
and often when that happens, you know, people turn to street drugs because they
yeah,
don't get medicated correctly. Obviously, we know that he had a heroin addiction, so I'm sure that, you know, along with self-medicating, that wasn't helping as well. I mean, look, my brother had bipolar. My brother killed himself. You know, he was on medication and then went off his medication. And when he went off his medication, it's when he took his life. So I know about mental health awareness. You know, it doesn't make my brother a bad person. it caused a lot of strife in the family, and unfortunately, it kind of split the family into two sides, and often those things usually do. But I'm not going to get too much into that. But you know, I think the overall context is what we were trying to give here is, if there's any type of mental health issues that you're going through, there's plenty of resources. Things don't ever get that bad. You know, there is a way and there is help. And again, if there's anybody that needs, you know, an 800 number or you know, just someone to talk to, maybe get them in the right direction. Yeah, my email. Just reach out to me. I can't promise that you know, I can steer you in the right direction, but I can't help you through your life journey. So I'll just say that. You know, we do care. We care about our subscribers, our listeners, our watchers. So all right, let's keep moving on here. So we have I'll let you take this since this was your note.
Oh, yeah. This is something we've all heard about.
Sure.
But Dateline NBC put her on and I guess kind of justified her experience with him. She went on a Tinder date with him. She invited him to her room, but he began to act weird. So she hid in her bathroom. He left and texted her later on through Tinder saying she had nice birthing hips. So
weird.
That's awkward.
Yeah.
That's not something we typically say in this era. Maybe back in the Bridgerton era. I believe I saw that on Bridgerton, where the latest with the Queen Charlotte, how the Queen said you have nice birthing hips. Yeah, we don't say that nowadays, so that's awkward.
Weird. Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, and I mean, we heard her. Oh, excuse me, we heard her story. And I think a lot of people were questioning, you know, was this real? And I think that she provided some evidence that it was real, and everything pretty much got, you know, cleared up in that sense. But yeah, it's just really odd. Here, I can hear your cat.
Yes.
So loud.
Hildegard is a loud cat.
Awesome. All right, so we have Catherine Ramsland's book, Confessions of a Serial Killer, BTK, was a required book for one of the courses BK took at the sales. And then you had a question that said, could this be the book? Oh my God. Now I'm got the yawnies tonight. Could this be the book? He had underlined page 118. And we actually tried, tried to go and look and see if we could find the page. I don't have it, but if anybody has it, because we're going to try to research this, if you could email it to me, that would be great. We would love to see it. We tried to go on Amazon just before and download it, but we didn't have enough time. But we're going to circle back around to that. And then we had a source that said, and I think this has been the most controversial thing that was released in what is that? It's not a documentary, but the news story.
Yes.
Yeah. That it says that he purchased the K-Bar knife on Amazon while still in PA and transported the knife from PA to Washington. That to me was kind of like one of those, whoa. And even you messaged me and you're like, he purchased a knife and brought it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that's factual. It's just a source. So what do you think?
It's plausible. It's very plausible that he purchased this knife before he traveled to Washington. And I'm thinking, okay, rationale here. It's difficult and you shouldn't carry guns across state lines due to different gun laws in different states. So even if he would have had a permit to carry a gun in the state of Pennsylvania, it would not be reciprocated in all of the states he would travel through. Now, you can argue with me about hunting and everything. Okay, I know that, but it would just be inadvisable. Plus, maybe he wasn't that comfortable with a gun. So the next best option would be to have a knife. I mean, I think there's plenty of people out there that have knives in their cars as protection. It's a crazy world we live in. So I think he could have purchased it, claimed it was for protection, and used it when he drove across country.
Mm-hmm.
But the real question is, did he take it back home to Pennsylvania?
Right.
Was this the knife found it in the PA in his parents' house during the search?
You know what I find very interesting too is that they confiscated a couple of handguns.
Yeah.
And I had said, and this kind of negates what you said about bringing, listen, if a criminal's going to break a law, the criminal's just going to break the law. I think he probably would be, I think he would try to be a little bit more careful if he was going to carry a firearm out to WSU with him. But I had said, I wonder if the handgun that they might have seized, maybe he used that along with the knife. Maybe the handgun was to subdued, I have a gun, but then his weapon of choice is the knife. And this is all alleged as well too, because we don't know. Let's see. Iron Range Rube says, I suffer from PTSD and I'm sorry you feel that way and can never understand your heartbreak and grief. God bless Brian. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Iron Range Rube. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's no way we can say we know what you feel, Iron Range Rube, but thank you for coming out with this and for the super chat. And you're definitely part of this community and we will all think about you.
Yeah, and if your PTSD is due to any military service, we want to thank you for your service as well too, because we honor our veterans here on this channel and respect our veterans. And so if you did serve, thank you so much, and we appreciate that. Thank you for the $10. I do appreciate that so much. All right, so we'll keep moving on here. Excuse me. So
Brian, do we have gifted memberships we have to give out?
I'm sorry?
Do we have any gifted memberships that came through that we have to give out?
Not yet, because we're at 4981. We're so close to 5,000. I'm going to wait until 5,000 to do that. So if it's not on this stream tonight, we're going to gift some out on the next stream, because I'm sure that's going to be the celebratory 5,000 stream. But look, if everybody's watching and there's anybody out there that hasn't subscribed to the channel, go down there and subscribe, smash that bell icon and turn it on, because every time I go live, you'll get notifications. I live stream Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evenings at 8:30 p.m. I know the times lately have been a little wonky, and they're going to be probably a little wonky over the next couple of weeks. So I have a very rigorous work schedule. So just bear with me on that. But when we do that celebratory 5,000, I'm going to give away some memberships. Wow, I'm so lost tonight. I have a headache, so I'm trying to think, and I can't think. And smash that like button, because that's important too. Yeah, beard shave at 5K. No. This is we're gonna start growing it back now. We're growing it back now. All right. So the mysterious
Dr. Bob said, "Ask it in a different way, Laura." Dr. Bob, what do you mean? I'll gladly ask anything in a different way.
Sure.
I want to know what Dr. Bob means, so we can answer or ask the right question. Give you a moment here.
While we wait, I'm going to read the underwear incident.
Yeah, the underwear incident.
The underwear incident. So this is all pure speculation. This has not been confirmed, but they did show this in the documentary. This could be, a possibility of something, and we kind of hashed this around. So March 2022, we call the underwear incident. The Alpha Pi sister at the log cabin house just steps. It's actually in back of 112 King Road. I made that error. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Had her suit. One of the girls at the house had her suitcase removed from her car and placed it outside of her car in the middle of the night. Items were moved around in the car, and her underwear was stuffed inside her cup holder. Now, the question out there on the Dateline episode was, could this been a test? Could Kohberger have been out there and been a test during this? So some of the speculation is, even though what happened, it was 8 months before the murders, all his studies at that time were all online. He could have been anywhere, and he could have been in Pullman months before, arriving in June of 2022. And the reason that we talk about this, I don't know if I lost Laura, I might have. The reason that we've been talking about this was, I'm going to bring Laura back in here. You there, Laura?
I'm here. Yeah, my laptop just went dead mysteriously, so I'm on my phone for now.
All right. So, awesome. So I was talking about this, and I said, I don't know if you heard me. I said the reason that we brought this up, one, they brought it up in the episode, and the speculation out there was, even though that it happened 8 months before the murders, but all of Brian Kohberger's studies at that time were online, and he could have been anywhere basically roaming free throughout the country. He could have been in Pullman months before he arrived in June of 22. The reason we said that was Laura and I were talking, and we can swear, and if anybody can help us out with this, I would love to hear this. There was either an article or a mini docu on this case that said that Koberger was out at WSU at some recruiting or a party tour
in March of
and
2022.
It was in March of 22. I know I'm not wrong on this because we both remember it. And I'm sure that when I hear people hear the playback, or maybe someone in the chat here says, I heard that too. But if anybody has a link or anything to that, because we tried scouring, I think it's in a little mini docu that I saw that was like 48 hours or something about this, that they talked about it. And I remember them talking about him walking through the classrooms or going down a hallway or something. It comes back to me when I think of it. Now, again, this is all pure speculation. And Dateline said, could this have been a test? You know, your steps away from King Road. I mean, you can see the house on the body cam footage of this incident. And you know, again, it's something that we're not saying 100% happened or is truth, because we don't know and there hasn't been any documented information about it. But I found that it was very interesting that they talked about this.
Yeah, and Alpha Phi was the sorority Kaylee was in, and it was right around. It was. I mean, you can see the 1122 King Road house from this log
It's like
cabin.
right there.
Alpha Phi. It's literally right there. So, was this him? Was this not him? But it just seems very coincidental. And Mama Style says he would have gone to WSU to visit the campus. He had to have been there before August. I mean, yeah, Bobby Old Dude, same thing. He was still in the running. Yes.
So yeah, so this makes a lot of sense. Tsunami saying in April of 22, he was still in the running for position at Pullman Police Department. He probably was there for an interview at or before that time.
Yep.
That's really great information. And thank you, Tsunami. I appreciate that, because I remember there was something
I had an article up on my computer before it went dead saying this exact thing. So thank you, Tsunami.
Yeah, thank you. I knew there was something there about this. And I was like, he visited something or did something. We're going to talk about the police department in a second as well, and probably in this next slide. So, this was an interesting one too. If you want to take this one, Laura.
He befriended his classmate at WSU. So it was another student in the PhD program. I think she said something that her house was broken into. Oh, right there it is. Her apartment was broken into and things were moved, but I guess nothing was missing. So she didn't call the police, but then she said she needed cameras installed, and he did it for her, and he knew her Wi-Fi password. So it looks as if he could have been watching her, because he could have accessed her cameras through the Wi-Fi and everything. So, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then there was sources now saying that he's a strong suspect in that break-in. And I don't know, it just kind of only makes sense at this point now, everything that we know. Again, I'm not saying that he did it, but it's interesting. It's an interesting fact that came up in that. And I was kind of like, I didn't even know about this. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know about that. And that was kind of one of those, oh, wow moments as well. And then it goes on to say the law enforcement chief, they believe, was left by mistake. And law enforcement says that obviously we've known this. It was a personal targeted attack. That's what they believe at the sense too. So we got into the Indiana stops in the episode as well. Come to find out, those were routine drug stops. They were checking activity, body language, just to see if there was anything out of place. I thought some of the odd stuff was they talked about that immediately when Koberger got back to Pennsylvania, he had his car serviced immediately right away, which was very odd. They said that I believe they said he's never really done anything like that before. And then he started, this is kind of a big tell too, which was very strange. He started wearing latex gloves even inside the family home. And then when police came to arrest Brian Kohberger, he was in the kitchen with latex gloves on, separating trash in Ziploc bags. I don't know, Laura, that just don't really sound like normal personal behavior. What do you think?
I was just doing that like 2 minutes ago. No, I'm kidding. That's weird. I can't think of a rational explanation on why you would do that logically. Separating trash, separating recycling, but with into Ziploc. I mean, was he going through all the trash to help recycle everything in the middle of the night? I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, it just seems a bit odd. Are we going into what his sister said next?
I think so. Yeah, we'll go to the
Okay,
next
so I
slide.
don't want to go get ahead.
Inside
Okay, yeah.
BK's Pennsylvania bedroom, they said inside a latex glove, police found 2 IDs belonging to 2 women, not King Road victims. And I'm sure you wanted to, you said, gosh, if this is who I think it is, it would be really odd that we talked about it.
So last night, after I said I was going to bed and I was done with Idaho for the night, I sent a text to Brian going, 2 IDs to 2 women not related to King Road. Pennsylvania State Police and the local police departments in Pennsylvania said there's 2 cold cases we're looking into that we think could be linked to Brian Kohberger.
This was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I think, February-ish. We don't know what those 2 cold cases are. We have not been confirmed that. There is a separate cold case that we don't know if is one of those that we have covered on this channel. The Dana Smithers case, and she was unfortunately she was found deceased at the end of April, and it was confirmed, but we haven't heard anything about that because it's going to take a little while to get a true cause of death back because it was bones they found. So while her family has some closure, unfortunately we don't have a lot, but I just said, what if one of those IDs was Dana Smithers? I mean, I'm probably reaching. You know, I just want closure for the family, but what if it was? I mean, it's kind of odd to have 2 IDs of 2 women in a latex glove in a box. Yeah, once again, it's odd behavior. If I found, I mean, my daughters aren't old enough to get IDs from people, but if I found IDs in my child's bedroom of other people and those people were not close friends or whatever, I'd be questioning that. So that's odd behavior.
Do we know if it was his first semester out there?
That was his first semester.
Okay. Because I was just wondering, like, had he maybe took some IDs out there and came home, maybe these were potential people that he might have wanted to stalk, or maybe some people at the sales, women at the sales that he wanted to stalk or something.
Or
again, this is all alleged. We're not saying this, right? We don't know. And
just some water cooler talk here.
Right.
No water cooler, but just some water cooler talk here. Like, who could these? I mean, they had to be of some substance in order to even mention this, because remember, we get ahead of ourselves, and if they took them, they were suspicious or they wanted to know why he had them. So that's the whole thing with that. Oh, Carrie thought that too.
Yeah. So we move on to the next thing that got brought up in Dateline was the sisters of Brian. Sister of Brian talked about the Idaho case at the home, and with all the evidence, she thought it might be pointing towards Brian, unfortunately, along with his odd behaviors. And then there were some speculation or rumor that was put out there that they actually went out. They talked to his father. His father's like, no, this is so stupid. But they actually did go out and start searching in the car, looking for possible evidence.
But he had already cleaned it with bleach, I believe.
Yeah.
They said that. I mean, and I saw on some Facebook groups and everything about, joking how, this is all 100% speculation and hearsay, but I guess they went to dinner and he wanted a dimly lit restaurant. He might have had the gloves on. But I mean, could you imagine that conversation? I mean, his sister obviously is suspicious. She's thinking, you know, and I've said this before, like, did the sister just be like, "Why is Brian acting so weird?"
Right.
Because siblings usually know when other siblings are acting strange. I only know that through family. But yeah, like, support, you know, his sister is probably thinking, "What did he do?" So that's crazy that they mentioned the sister.
Yeah, Tsunami makes a good point. He says, I can't wait to see the grocery store footage from the morning of 11/13/22. Wasn't that
100%.
that was when he went to get coffee or something or
I
shop
think
that morning?
I think this is when he went to Albertsons.
Yeah.
Tsunami probably knows that.
Yeah. So yeah, Tsunami, some great points tonight. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
As a channel mod, that's really good stuff.
Good stuff.
And
Thanks, Tsunami.
then we go into kind of some of the speculation that was brought up. Let me bring this up really back, my screen back up. Hang on. Whoop, here we go. So this is all speculative. This was some of the things that Dateline put out. So speculation, investigators believe that BK is or was Papa Roger online. We all kind of knew that was kind of thrown into the case, and some just really odd conversations that were brought up in chat rooms with this this name, and obviously they talked about that they thought it was very odd and eerie that the that the avatar looked very much like Brian Koberger. Then it goes on to say that law enforcement thinks he may have attended a party at King Road or had been inside the house before. And I'm not sure if you still there, Laura.
I'm here.
Okay, so this I actually want to touch on a little bit more because I know you and I have a little bit back and forth about this. But let me read this $2 super chat real quick. High Priestess Campaign, it says, I emailed the page. Can we read it? Wow. Yes.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
yes.
Okay,
Thank
let's do this. We're gonna
You
finish
deserve the super chat, High Pisces Campaign.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's awesome.
You're awesome.
Yeah. We're gonna finish the
Finish
presentation.
this. Yep.
And then we're going to get to that. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that $2 super chat. Thank you for doing the homework for us.
Oh my gosh, you're
that helps
amazing.
us out so much. And kind of, it will conclude our show for this evening.
Ooh.
All right. So I wanted to touch a little bit more on this. Law enforcement thinks he may have attended a party at King Road or had been inside the house before. You know what? I'm going to let you take it first, and then I'm going to say what I think happened. Go ahead.
I personally do not believe he attended a party.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying I'm right, but I don't think he did. I think he lurked. I think maybe he saw a party happening and was lurking in one of his many passes of King Road.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could have entered the house just to get a lay of the land. But, you know, I really go back to my thoughts in that he studied the Zillow listing, the apartment, pictures of the home. Smart guy. Smart guy. I think we can all agree on that. He's a smart guy. I mean, yeah, he committed murder, perhaps, and is on trial, but he did a lot of research. He knew how to research. Let's put it that way. I think he did everything from his computer or lurked, like just, you know, sat in his car at a distance and watched people go in and out, because according to what some other people had said on Dateline, he just wanted to be accepted. Maybe he was trying to study things.
High Priestess Campaign says, I literally subscribed for a free trial. I got 7 days to read before I could cancel it. That's great.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We are going to pull that
thank
up.
you.
So
Brian, that's my take.
Okay, my take is, I think a couple of things. I think that with the activity that went in and around that house, and we know that at times with the body cam footage that we saw, and High Priestess, I'll get to your membership in a second. What we saw is that, you know, at times none of those people that were on that lease were in that house. So it is possible maybe he could have snuck in there at some time unannounced and kind of snuck through. Or two, I think that he had been inside that house probably on multiple occasions when people weren't there or at home. I think he probably knew the schedules that they had to be in class. He probably knew the windows of time, because I mean, he was there 12 times before in and around that area. I think that he studied. He probably took some notes of when and where everybody was going. And I talked about this in a video like 4.5 months ago on my channel. And it was funny. Laura and I were playing it the other day. I was like 90% correct on all of this stuff. That's what I think. I think that. Let's see. High Priestess campaign. Thank you so much for the new membership. Thank you and welcome to the channel. I update the Discord group. If you are a paid member, it's for paid members only. You can jump into our Discord group if you like. I always update the link after the episode posts on my community page. So thank you so much. So again, we're going to go into investigators believe he went to the 3rd floor, thought he was done, and then encountered Xana and had to kill Xana and Ethan, leading investigators to what was the MKXE order of the killings. And if you haven't seen that video, Laura and I did a very deep dive into why we thought the orders, unfortunately, of the killings, and I just actually redropped the episode today. You can go back and watch it. It's called Did Xana Kernodle Encounter Alleged Killer Brian Kohberger? So if you want to go back and watch that, it's a really great episode. Let's get to this $5 super chat. I have a $4.99 super chat from Johnny Archer. He said, if I ever met BK in person before any of this came up, it would take 1/10 of a second to me look at his eyes and say, nope. Any thoughts of an invite? So thank you so much for that $4.99 super chat. All right, let's get to this, and I think this is going to round out the rest of the slides here. So Kayla Nguyen thinks Brian Kohberger could have crossed paths with Xana or Maddie at the Mad Greek restaurant first. She feels in her heart or mind, or her information that she knows, that this is how they all became kind of entwined. So if that's true, then it would be probably one of those 2 girls, in her opinion, that was the target, according to Kayla Nguyen. And then, this is great. Papa Rogers Tsunami was saying that he applied for the Pullman police internship. And then they asked, could this have been a tactic to get inside the police station to see how they operate or their activities? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Get close to the source. Keep your enemies close to you, if you know what I mean.
Get close to the crime before he did it.
Right. So I think this is it. That's it. That's our presentation there. What I do want to do before we close out the stream is we're going to pull up that page 118. Let me just pull my email up.
I'm still here.
You're still here. Okay. Don't leave me. And then what I'll do is I'll probably just paste it into, let's see. I don't have an email. Okay, let's see. Screenshot. I found it. She said, great. Let's do this. And then I think I have 2 slides I can open. Okay, I have 2 slides. So let's read through the first one first. Let me just answer this really quick. What's going on? Someone's chatting at me. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Oh, I hope this is the right one. In fact, all right. Let me make sure I get this in the right order. In the home. I think this is the right order. I'm not sure, but I think, let's see. Bear with me, guys. Sorry. Let's try this. Let me enlarge it.
I'm going to turn my camera off because I'm trying to work.
Yeah. So it says, in a home that was south of 13th facing the McDonald Golf Course. I think you got some echo there, Laura.
I'm going to mute myself then.
Sure. In a home that was south of the 13th facing the McDonald Golf Course, the male ran a paint store near St. Francis Hospital, and a woman was alone in the evening. Noise alerts. I can't even read this. I got to look up. Noise alerted her when I was there, and she flipped the light on, so I left. There were a few PJs north of 13th and Oliver, and a few west and northwest of that corner. There was a railroad track that ran through that area, not used often, and I offered a perfect way for me to prowl backyards unseen. That PJ's backyard was one. She was in the early plannings of the stage, and I was still trolling. One night after class, I walked through the south track of the 13th, checked on a new house, and did a little casing. People were home. I observed them. All right, let me bring up the next slide. And he goes in to say, I watched. I carried a clip-on knife. The folded buck knife Hunter was my favorite. It was fairly large and heavy, but for any fishing trips or campouts, it was with me in a leather case. Holy shit. Holy shit. This is crazy. Imagine if this is the page. It was a fairly large and heavy, but for my fishing trips and campouts, it was with me in a leather case. Later, I bought a thinner defensive knife. Oh my God. Like an escape black folding knife. Both were lock blades. I also always carried a pocket knife. Even on Sunday, I carried a thin one to church, which fit easily in my dress clothes. I had numerous places I like to check, always on the lookout for new potential hit as I traveled around. For example, there was PJ Rose on Parrish, close to the 13th and Oliver, in a rose-colored home. She was a female with a younger family. No male ever spotted. I cased the house from the backyard. PJ Plant lived, and I probably read that in the wrong, but oh my God, that is nuts.
Wow, that was kind of eerie.
Yeah, I'd say. So we're asking what this was. So this was read from Carrie Ralston's book that she wrote called Confessions of a Serial Killer, and it was about her dad, BTK Killer. But this was one of the required course books of reading at DeSales, the course that Brian took. So he had to read this book. I'm sorry, Kathleen Ramsland. Why did I say Carrie Ralston? Carrie Ralston is BTK. The daughter. So very eerie, very strange, something to think about. But that is page 118 of that book. So crazy stuff. Where are we here for a sub count? Let's take a look. We're at 10:30. Are we going to get to 5K tonight? We're at 4994, 6 away. Wow. I have an 11-minute video to play. Maybe we can get about 6 more subscribers in 11 minutes, and then we'll wrap this stream up. Sound good?
Let's do this.
All right. So what we got here is, I love this guy's channel. He's a body language expert. And if you haven't gone over, it's Mr. G. And I really like this guy. He's going to break down Brian Koberger's Stop, the most recent video that we've seen. Let's hear Dr. G. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, I'm so close to 5,000 subscribers. I need 6 more. Hit that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. And then we're going to do a celebratory stream where we do some giveaways and stuff like that and have like a really good time and kind of a stream on that. So let's play this here. Maybe we get 6 more in the next couple of minutes. Oh shit, what'd I do? Wow. And all right, let's play.
Last thing before we get started, I just wanted to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's get started. So this body cam footage is from a police officer that pulled him over for a minor traffic violation. It's about a month before the murders occurred, and it's going to give us some insight into how he interacts with authority. And why that matters is because this clues us into how he's going to be if he...
We're at 4999. I need 1 more subscriber. We might be able to celebrate 5,000 tonight before we get off air.
This is crazy.
It's nuts.
He provides testimony and has to interact with the prosecutor.
Maybe everybody's making their fake accounts, and then when I go offline, they're going to pull them all back and unsubscribe.
Hello, I am Officer Loangus.
The first thing we notice right off the bat is he is immediately...
We got it. We officially have hit 5 5,000 subscribers.
Just in
Oh
time
my
for the
God.
indictment.
Just in time for the indictment. Oh my God. I can't believe it. 5,000. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like a real YouTube channel now. Like, I don't know, $5,000, 5,000 just seems like it's just I don't know. I can't. I'm speechless. Dago True Crime in the house. I think I saw you earlier, buddy. I'm sorry. The chat goes so quick now. Everybody's saying congratulations. Thank you, everybody, so much. Laura, thank you so much for giving me your time on this.
Oh, you're welcome. This is great.
I gotta sit here for a second. I'm sorry. I want to thank everybody. I want to take a minute to thank everybody that listen. This channel has been through many changes, many changes. I've had this channel up for 3 years. I did car content. I did watch content. You know what I should do is I should play my very first video someday so you all can laugh. The initial first video was on this channel, but I did car content. I tried to start a car community on here because I'm a BMW driver and I had several BMWs that I was building and enjoying. So I started a BMW community. That didn't really pan out. And then I was in the watch industry for 16 years. And wow, that's a big super chat. We're going to get to this in a second. Wow. Wow. That's very, very generous of you, Tsunami.
Thank you.
You so much. Thank you. I started a car channel. I was in the watch business for 16 years. I ended up going to watch content. And then this channel was actually going to turn into a political channel. I wanted to speak out about some things, and I started to do some politic videos, and then and I still have those videos up. Laura and I actually were watching one of them the other night. It was pretty funny, and I stumbled into Idaho, and I said, "There's something here. There's something going on, and I need to investigate and look into this." And I remember going back and watching some of those lives when I had like 4 people watching. Christine Brown is one of the first original people that were here. Dr. Bob was one of the first original people here. I saw SE earlier in the chat. She had to leave. Her dad, BC O'Brien, that is no longer around, unfortunately. I hope that he's well, because I had some email communication with him not too long, maybe a couple months ago, and his email address has now come back undeliverable. So O'Brien, if you're hearing this and you see this, I hope you are well. And again, I think Idaho, because of how personal it hit me, and if you haven't seen my story of why I've done this, I'm doing it for my best friend. My best friend was murdered, stabbed to death, and there was no justice in his case. And the 2 people that were caught and accused of this murder, we know who they were, got slipped through the system. One of them took a plea and they were out in 8 months. And the other one, the defense could not get their shit together. And that's me here in 1991. And my best friend, Tony Cardozo, is right here. And he was killed. He was murdered. He was stabbed to death. And there's a lot of weird and eerie things about that. And if you were all interested in that, before I get off live tonight, I will drop that in the chat and you guys can watch that stream. I actually went back and pulled all the news articles about that case, scanned them all in, and I did a presentation for everybody. And I like to timeline things, and you'll notice that when you watch my streams, and I timelined everything with news articles. But that is my best friend, and unfortunately, this girl we didn't like very much, so her face got kind of washed out in this Polaroid. But I keep this Polaroid up above here every single day and look at it before I go live, and I say, this is for him. This is for Tony, and I do this for him. And I do this for the victims' families that we cover in these streams. And that's why I treat this with respect. I don't do conspiracy theories. I don't bring in false information. I don't have wackaloons on my panels. I'm not going to do that out of respect for these victims. I got a couple of super chats that came in. Tsunami, thank you so much. That's a very, very, very generous super chat. I'm going to go back here. I saw Christine Brown with another very generous super chat. She said, "You deserve your success." This is what I want to do. I don't want to work a regular day job anymore. I want this channel to grow above and beyond of what it can be. My dream is to get this out of my bedroom and into a studio someday. Let me just readjust this. I know that you guys hear me say this all the time, but I truly believe that this is my place in life at this moment. You know, we don't know what life is going to be tomorrow. We don't know. And you have to live the day, every day and every minute of your life that you wake up, every second of your life, like it is the best and it's the last, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And tomorrow was not guaranteed for these individuals. And it's sad. And this is the way that we're getting to meet them. And it's, you know, and there's going to be some things that probably come out in trial that we don't want to hear. There's probably some things that are going to blow our minds in this case. It's not the way that I wanted to meet these people. And, you know, I just keep saying they didn't deserve this. But if I can bring some relative good information across this platform and get good, you know, context out there, sticking to the facts, doing it the right way, that's what I want to provide here for people. And believe me, there's a lot of people in this chat that don't agree with me, and that's fine. But I like to stick to the facts. That's what we do here. I got a $5 super chat from True Crime Cafe with Diego. Congrats, brother. Much deserved. Nothing but the best. If you haven't go over, check out his YouTube channel. He follows a lot of the Idaho 4 as well. And I'm going to go on here. We have a $5, another $5 super chat from Crime Solver. Thank you so much in that. And I think that we've got that up. And I love doing this, and I love seeing the new people that come in and out. I love having the interactions with the people in the Discord. I'm so thankful for every single person that I've met so far across this platform. This is a great channel. You know, it's a great channel, and we have some really great people in this community. And I hope someday this does become my day job. And not only talk about true crime, but bring some awareness to some other things. My dream, you know, and I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox platform tonight, but my dream when I was a kid is I always wanted to be a performer. I always wanted to be something that I could speak to people. And, you know, I've done that through my life. I've played in bands, and I've done little mini tours around, you know, the United States, and I was a musician, and I've been creative, and you can see all the, you know, the things that I do, all the visual talent, you know, that I have. I'm very visual, and I can put presentations together like that. And I'll put a presentation together. Laura go, here's all my notes. And 10 minutes later, I'm like, here's a presentation. She's like, holy shit, how did you do that so quick? You know, I don't know. It comes natural to me. I've always been a painter and an artist, and you know, I love music and vinyl and creating things. I love creating things. And I just would have never thought it would get here, you know, and it's getting bigger. And if I can be the good voice out there in this, because I know the true crime community gets a lot of shit. And listen, I'm not downing anybody else. They have their platform. They can put any material out they want. I mean, it's their business. It's their business to do that. There's some of it that I will agree with, and there's some of it that I won't agree with. But frankly, I try not to watch any of the other true crime stuff, because I want to keep my platform pure, and I don't want to take other ideas, and I just want to be me. If you guys got me, I just want to be me. And let's see. We got Angie's Hull's become a new member. Thank you so much for your support. Rachel Ware, it's a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support as well. Carrie H says, I love your soapbox. Bonnie says, we need more streams like you, Opinionated Idiot and Dago, and a few others have changed. I've changed streams too much drama and nonsense. Listen, again, I don't get into all of that stuff. I don't want to down anybody else. There's some really great platforms out there, and there's some really bad ones. And I'm sure that you all are adults and you can make those choices for yourself. I'm not going to talk shit about anybody. You all know the channels that I've aligned with on this channel, and I support those channels. Diego's a good guy. He's got a good heart. You know, he's another good guy that pops in my chat every once in a while. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't really have enough time to watch your channel, but the stuff that I've seen, I think you generally care about this case as well, and keep it close to your heart and vest. And listen, you take the time to come over here and watch my channel. I need to take some more time and go over and watch your stuff, but I do peek in every now and then. I don't have the time to sit for hours. My life is very busy outside of my YouTube world, you know, and I try my best to keep a good balance between everybody, but we don't not recognize you. We do see you here, and we appreciate that support. And, you know, like I said, if you guys are over here, go check him out. He's a good guy. You know, so really lots of great comments. I appreciate everybody, you know, really sticking through all of this and growing this channel. Now our goal is 10,000. We want 10,000, and we want that by the end of the year. My goal was 5,000 by the preliminary hearing. We're not going to get that, but 5,000 on the day before the indictment is pretty fucking good. So pretty good. Really great stuff. I'm not going to do that body language video. Maybe we'll do that for another night. We'll come back and do that. But I wanted to really make this about the audience, this last part of the show, because without all of you, this channel would not survive. If you didn't come to this channel and push these videos out and watch the lives and support and give your chat, this channel would not be where it is. So I thank you. I thank you all so much. And I know the names and I see them, and I have private conversations with all of you. And now we just need this fucking algorithm to push this channel like a mofo. Let's get this thing big. And I will promise you this, and I promise everybody this: I will never, ever, ever change. I will never, ever, ever let subscriber counts justify who I am. I will never. What you see is what you get. I promise you that. I will never change. I may not agree with you. I may disagree with you. I may agree with you. I may push back, but I will not change. I will never skew from who I've been and who I am. And it's funny, and I'm going to say this because she's on the panel, and Laura's been a very great friend of mine. She said to me, I said, what, 2.5 months ago when this started picking some steam up, and I said, oh, wow, this is really picking up. And Laura said to me, she typed to me and said, don't ever change. And I said, in an instant, I never will. You got to be honest to your audience. You have to be transparent to your audience. You have to be true to your audience, because if you bullshit, people will see through it in 5 seconds, and they'll sniff you out and they'll leave. And I urge other channels out there, if you're starting a channel or you're thinking about a channel, be honest with your audience, support your audience, give them what they want, and they will come. That's it. That's, you know, and give them good, relevant content, not bullshit, you know, not bullshit. So did I miss some chats? Hang on.
I think we have some gifted memberships from Carrie.
Hang on, I'll get to it. I just got to open up a. Let me open up my window here. See, gifted chats I can't see, so I got to go back up. Let's see. Oh, I don't think I can go back in the chat. Hang on. Who gifted memberships?
Carrie H, I believe it was.
Carrie H has gifted some memberships. We have Paula. We have K.A. Pisces. We have Annie Potts. We have Party of Five have all come in, and they are new members to the channel. So appreciate you so much on that. And they're all hanging out. They're all hanging out tonight, Laura. They're all hanging out.
Everyone's here.
Everybody's here. They're all hanging out. Diego's become a new member. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you. So we need to do a celebratory 5,000 stream here. We'll get that up soon. We'll come back and, save a little bit more of my conversation for a later day, I guess. Listen, I do want to let everybody know this. My work schedule is going to start ramping here in the next 2 weeks. This week is not going to be so bad, but the following week is going to be nuts. I'm going to be going to about a 60-hour work schedule a week, working 6 days a week with 1 day off. So I may be a little cranky, but I'm going to try my best to keep content going because I don't want the channel to go stagnant. So I will find ways to stream, even if I have to fucking come on here at 10 o'clock at night and do an hour and then try to sleep 4 or 5 hours and go back to work and work 13 hours. I'm literally going to 13-hour shifts a day.
Ooh.
So it's nuts. Yeah.
Brian, they want you to change the board.
Change the board. We got to update the board. Bonnie Bailey's become a YouTube member. Thank you so much. We're going to officially change the board for everybody. So let's get rid of that ugly 4 on the front. We're going to bounce this over to 5. I got to get some more numbers here too. Because I'm running out of zeros and stuff. Let's see where we're at. And then watch, when I go off air, all the fake accounts are going to pull their membership, their subscriptions back. So we're at 5. Whoa, we went all the way up to 5,011 right now, Laura. So we're at 5,011. On this date before the
wow,
we're at 5,011, and yeah, someone said earlier the first 5,000 is always a biatch to get to, but we've worked hard, and I got to give a lot of credit to Laura too. She spends her time on this panel. She's become a real true friend to me, supports me, and we come up with a lot of good stuff, and I appreciate you being here and lending your hand. And I appreciate all of my mods, all of the people that chat in our Discord, all the people that privately message me and email me. Thank you all so much, because it wouldn't take, it takes a team to do this.
Yeah, so. And thank you for giving me a forum to talk about Idaho, not annoy my friends and family.
So Meg P's become a new member.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't know. I think we're gonna round this one up. It's getting late. I have a long day ahead of me tomorrow. I don't even know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow's Monday. Tomorrow is gonna be the indictment day.
What tomorrow is?
Formal reading of the indictment. I will be back on Tuesday evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm getting like the burps now. We're gonna get all through the indictment and reactions, and probably we're gonna get new video of Brian Kohberger. We haven't seen him since January. So, take note. What does he look like? What's his physical features? Does he look like he's in any type of different mental state? I'd love to all hear your comments. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Laura appreciates it. All of my mods appreciate it. All the chatters appreciate it. We'll come back. We'll do a celebratory stream here probably sometime this week. But Tuesday's going to be a very important show because we'll be able to recap the courtroom drama that's going to go on and see where we go next in this case. So I want to thank everybody. Gator, that's a good one. He says odds on 200 pounds or 150. I think he's going to be skinny. I think he's going to be skinnier than we see.
Yes.
Than we've seen before. Thank you all so much for the celebratory comments in there. I can't pull every single one of them up, but thank you. And I want to thank everybody this evening for subscribing. And thanks for all the super chats. Tsunami, thank you so much. It was very generous. Everybody was very generous this evening for the super chats. But real quick, let's end this poll. So, wow, what a split. I asked at the beginning of the show, how did you feel about the new Dateline Idaho episode? 38% said it was informative, 35% said I haven't seen it yet, and 25% said it was a complete waste of time. So the audience has spoken. Great stuff here. Thank you all so much. We're going to go. We're tired. We'll be back on Tuesday. I appreciate everybody. We'll do a 5K celebratory show soon. All right, guys. Have a good night. Be safe. And remember, always come back here. I'm going to get off the mothership. Laura is going to get off the mothership. We're going to go hang out and get some rest. And we'll see you guys soon. See you guys all next time. Bye.
Thanks.